Hi Wim, thank you for joining our program today. As we are now at the end of this year, can you give us an outlook about the insurance industry next year?
Well, thank you, Enoch. Thank you for inviting me today. Yeah, sure. I can give you an outlook for 2010, but I would say let's try to put it a little bit into perspective of 2009 as well. 2009 has been a very interesting year, a very challenging year, but it has been a year with two phases, to my opinion. We've seen the first half with the market, which was down 30% altogether, and a lot of companies try to struggle to sell policies. While after summer we saw a significant turnaround in the business overall, and for us the last quarter of this year is looking to be the best quarter we've ever had. So it's been really two phases of 2009. But with this backdrop, 2010 looks very promising to me. We would expect at least a double-digit growth of the overall market, and in ING we're targeting higher than that in our current plans.
Well, I need to ask a question with personal interest, because I'm a policyholder of ING, and I heard that the ING Group actually is now trying to sell the insurance unit. Will that affect your Hong Kong operation and also my policy?
Thank you for this question, and thanks for being our customer. We're happy to have you on board. Yes, ING decided to restructure the group and split off the insurance business globally. This would mean that over time the insurance business globally would have a different owner. For ING Life Hong Kong, I would not see a big impact of this change. As we discussed before we started the interview, you mentioned you started with AMP, and then AMP was taken over by Aetna, and Aetna has become ING. And as a policyholder, basically you have not seen any impact to your policy. So going forward with the restructuring within ING Group, we would not expect it has a big impact for the Hong Kong operation as well as our policyholders.
Well, let's turn the conversation about yourself. You were head of Heineken in Hong Kong and Macau for some years before you shift to ING. Why did you decide to change from the brewery industry to the insurance industry?
Yeah, I guess you don't know too many people who went from beer to insurance. But yeah, I spent 12 years in Heineken and traveling around the world. I've been in many places around the globe, and eventually run the business here for Heineken in Hong Kong. And after 3 years, it was the plan to move on again. In the meantime, we started to enjoy Hong Kong a lot. Our second daughter was born here, and we had Hong Kong as a nice home. As well as I saw opportunities coming around, and I met with Jacques Kemp at that time, the chairman of ING Asia Pacific, and he said, well, people with your background might be very interesting to join the insurance business. We're looking for people with management skills, commercial experience, and after quite a few interviews we decided to get married, and since it's been a good ride.
How do you compare the two industries?
Well, the two industries, I always say there's more similarities than there are differences. If you look at the old-fashioned 4 Ps, like having a good product, having a good price, having your distribution done, and promoting or marketing your brand, I'd say all these elements are similar in the beer business or in the insurance business or any other business. So I don't think there's a lot of big differences in that respect, but there's nuances. There's nuances. What I see very much as a difference is the pull versus the push factor. What I mean with that is probably you don't know too many people who wake up in the morning and say, hey, I'm going to buy a life insurance today. So you need to have a skill in your distribution to reach out to the customers in the marketplace. To sell your products and to talk to customers, while on the other hand people walk into a bar and ask for a Heineken, for example. So that's what I would say a push versus pull has some differences. The major difference is the nature of the products. If you buy a life insurance product, you're probably hanging in there for 5, 10, 30, 40 lifetime. Which means for both parties you need to do a good due diligence on the product, meaning that the customer needs to understand what they're buying, but also the insurance industry or the insurance company has to take assumptions on mortality, on interest rates, investments and so forth to make sure that over the time span of the product that it's a well balanced and profitable product.
Well, overall, I know many people who try to shift their industry, but then there are not many successful cases. What do you think are the key of success when you decided to change your career into a completely different field?
Well, there's no secret to the success. At the end of the day, it's hard work, but I think more important, it's having an open mind and being receptive to a new environment. I think that's extremely important. As mentioned, there's a lot of similarities, but there's definitely differences and cultural differences as well. So if you're, I would say, if you're not very open-minded and you're not open to taking certain amounts of risk, I think it will always be challenging to make a shift in your career, either in a different industry or within your own company. So I would say these are probably the most important things, and at the end of the day, it's hard work.
Do you still drink beer nowadays?
Sure, absolutely. And 2 days from now we'll have New Year's Eve, and we'll definitely have a beer and drink to a successful 2010.
Well, as you mentioned, we are going to have the New Year Eve, and let me say Happy New Year to all the audience.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. Happy New Year to you.